What are you drinking there, Ralph? Is that cranberry juice?
The blood of the young.
No, that's not cranberry. It's the blood of the young. Yeah.
A lot's happened since yesterday.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of A Lot's Happened Since Fucking Yesterday. I am super excited to be back. 2 weeks off. Me and Rob have been hitting it, making plans. This is the first of many shows we have on the books. We're knocking them out hard this week in more ways than one. You can figure out what I'm talking about later. My name is Cody Walker.
I'm Ralph Puso, and you're watching A Lot's Happened Since Yesterday. And we have a very special guest today, a very good friend of mine, Mr. JT. He's from the band Falling Union, which you guys need to check out, because if you haven't heard them yet, you're missing out on some really good rock and roll.
Facts.
What's up, JT? What's going on, brother?
No, just doing my thing, man.
Oh.
Putting in some work. You know how it is.
You're always putting in work, brother. You're a busy man. You're a hard worker. You know what, dude? I wanted to first, before we go into your musical career, I wanted to talk to you about where you grew up. Where did you grow up?
Actually, Long Beach, California. Yeah. Long Beach,
Really?
California.
LBC.
Nice. Represent.
Although it doesn't feel like home anymore, man. I tell you what, I was there recently, a couple of weeks ago, with my club, dude, and like just riding through there. It's so saturated with people now, and just doesn't feel like home. But yeah, Belmont Shores is where I grew up at. It was fun.
Yeah. JT's in an MC. He's in a motorcycle club. He's a rider. We'll get into that a little bit later for sure. But you also decided to do service for your country. When did you decide that? How old were you? And what branch of the military did you serve in?
I was 22 years old. And I remember because, you know, when I was younger, man, I was an idiot. So I was just going through a rough time, and I literally woke up one day and said, you know what, I'm going to join the service. It was kind of like an escape. I was kind of running away from problems. And so I made it so easy for these guys. I literally woke up, got dressed, went to the recruiting station and said, hey, I want to join. What do I sign? Dude, these guys were like, come here, bro. Dude, they were like, come on over. Let me
that is so fucking funny, dude. That's cool. So, I mean, but were you prepared to go in knowing that at any given point in time you might go into a conflict?
Dude, no. I was an idiot, man. Honestly, I was, like I said, 22 years old, and I was kind of experimenting with drugs, and I was just out of shape, not knowing what I was doing in life. I just wanted to be a rock star at that time, and I knew that I had to do something to kind of change the direction or my mentality, really. I joined the service, and I was in boot camp. From the time I signed my papers, man, I was in boot camp like 3 weeks later.
Oh, wow.
So
you were serious.
It was pretty quick. Yeah, it was a pretty quick process, and that first day of boot camp, I was literally freaking going, oh my God, what did I do, dude? And I was crying like a baby.
But it seems to have struck a chord in you to a certain degree, because you seem pretty proud of your service.
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
And that's respectable. I mean, going in the way you went in, that's totally respectable. So obviously you over time you earned some respect for the military. I'm sure.
Absolutely. You know, it got to the point where, you know, because boot camp was 11 weeks long. So you start going in, the whole mission of the Marine Corps is to literally break you down to nothing and then to build you back up again. And it probably took me longer than others. As a matter of fact, I actually had to go through boot camp 2 weeks longer. So instead of doing 11 weeks, I did 13 weeks.
Ooh.
And because I couldn't pass the initial like physical training test, I was, you know, out of shape and kind of fat, and I couldn't, pass the test. So they set me back, and and kind of helped build my stamina. And then I was able to, pass the initial test and then start boot camp. But I'd say probably around a month and a half in, my whole mentality started changing. I was like, you know what, I can do this. I was I was getting clean. I was getting in shape. I was on this real strict diet, that they had me on. And my whole mentality just started changing. I was like, you know what, I can definitely do this. And then as you go and progress, and then you graduate boot camp, and I was like one of the proudest moments of my life. I'm like 160 pounds, yeah. And from that point, you just kind of realize that, okay, this is what I'm doing for the next 4 years. So you either find a way to get out, which a lot of people did, just through like medical leave or medical discharge, or you find a way to, overcome and do that thing. And that's what I did. So it was a good time, man. Probably some of the best experiences of my life and some of the worst experiences of my life. Because some of the shit you do is just like, you're crazy, dude. Some of the stuff you have to go through to train and stuff like that. It's just like, wow, like normal civilians just wouldn't understand.
Yeah, I get it, dude. I get it, man. I'm a fan of putting yourself through that kind of torture. I am, because it's helped me.
That's what it was.
You know what I mean? Sure. It's helped me though in the past to find balance, to get into that mind frame of, hey, I've got to be the best that I can be. And that means physically and mentally and everything. So yeah, no, I totally get what they're doing there.
Well, the plus side to that too is it's very hard to put yourself into the mindset of you don't have a choice but to go further. If you're doing it to yourself, at some point you'll stop. At some point you'll be like, I'm just tired. If you got somebody in your face going, no, you fucking aren't, you got 20 more, all of a sudden, somehow you get 20 more. It's weird how that shit works, There is a positive.
You're absolutely right. Because you get into situations where you're like, my body's done. I can't do anymore. And then you just find this inner strength to do it. And I'll give you an example. There'd be times when I got out of boot camp and I went to the fleet. The fleet is like where my job was, and I was in the infantry. I joined the infantry voluntarily. I figured, you know what? If I'm going to go to the Marines, I want to be able to, shoot guns and travel the world, and I just want to be the best, and that was kind of the mentality. But you get into situations like every year we had to do a certain amount of training to kind of see how battle ready you are. And there was a time we did 33 miles in 12 hours in full combat gear, man. And that was freaking insane to me. And that's when the willpower comes in, right? You're done, like 15 miles, you're like done, man. And you're like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. But you found a way to do it.
Now, when they put you out there, did you know the work you were getting into? Like, did you walk in going, fuck, we're going to have to trek that hard? Or did they just throw you in and you just started doing it?
No, dude, I was clueless, bro. Oh. I mean, when you get to the fleet and you start training and you go to the field every week and you're like, you're training for combat. I mean, that's really what you're doing as an infantry guy. And, you're learning battle tactics and all kinds of stuff. But, these yearly tests that we did, because, you have to prove that you're battle ready. I had no idea what the hell we were doing. Like, you hear that? Yeah, we're gonna go on a little forced march. I'm thinking, 10 miles maybe.
Right.
The next thing you know, we're doing 33 miles. I'm like, dude.
Do you think they still do that today, JT? Do you think they still do that kind of training nowadays? What do you think?
Well, I know that the military has evolved a lot since I was in. Like, I was in 96 and I got out in 2000. So they've definitely evolved a lot since then. And they do have a lot of different training. And they do stuff like that. They'll do forced marches. I've been out a while, so I couldn't really speak for what they're doing now. I just know that, you know, I was pretty proud of the fact that I actually completed that. Because, I mean, dude, we had countless Marines, you know, falling out. They just couldn't do it, dude. And you find the inner strength to do it. I was like, you know, I'm not going to be that guy. And so I struggled a lot during that, but you know, you just find a way to do it, man. It was more bragging rights too, because when you're done, you know, you're with the brothers that finished with you, and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, we did this, man. And then you look behind you and you see like countless freaking people and trucks and Humvees because they couldn't freaking do it, you know. And of course, we got scored for that and judged and tested, but fortunately, we passed, which was always a good thing. But it was a good experience in my life. I think I definitely needed that at that time in my life to really kind of give me that willpower to, you know, move on. And I'm not talking just like with music. I'm just saying like in general, man, like daily routine, daily life. You get up, you make the bed. Like, you know, some people don't make the bed these days. So.
Yeah, no, a lot of people don't make their beds.
Yeah, I don't know why. It just happens. I mean, whatever.
Well, I before we get too deep into that, because I do want to get into a little bit of politics with you because of everything that's going on in Afghanistan and everything. I kind of want to touch on that with you. But before we go there, I wanted to just kind of, we touched on your military life. You know, you were in the Marines. Now, what happened after you got out? And what led you to the music industry? Because I know that you mentioned that you wanted to be a rock star earlier. So I don't know if it was something that you always had as a dream or if it's something that you developed after you got out of the Marine Corps.
I've been doing the music thing probably since I was about 15.
15.
You know,
Okay.
and from the time I was 15 to like 19, I was absolutely horrible singer, man. Like, you know, I
find that hard to believe.
I just wanted to be in a band, and I tried every instrument, like drums. I have no rhythm, bro. Guitar, I have no patience. Bass, I mean, it just didn't appeal to me.
He's like, I'm too smart for that.
One day, man, I remember my brother, dude, he got me kind of started in music real early, because he was a guitar player, and he's 5 years older than me. So I remember, you know, being like 10 years old and hanging with my brother in the bedroom, and he's like, you know, playing Kiss songs off sheet music. And I remember like just, you know, the sheet music would have lyrics, right? And then he'd have the tape. You know, back then we had cassette tapes, bro, because, you know, I'm fucking old. So, you know, he'd have the tape in, and I would just kind of sing along. And this started to become a habit. You know, like I started to do that pretty regularly with him. And then, you know, he started playing shows. He'd do like the Troubadour, and he would just like tell me stories. And I just like totally was infatuated in awe of my brother, like the total perfect role model, you know? And so I wanted to do that. I wanted to do what he was doing, but I wanted to be a singer because I couldn't do anything else. And so I naturally just kind of gravitated towards that. And then, you know, when I was about 15, I got into my first band, and which was absolutely horrible.
Was that the name of the band, or was it just the status of the band?
Dude, I couldn't even tell you, bro. I don't even remember the name. Yeah, it eludes me right now. But yeah, I just remember being in bands, and I was in bands all the way up until I joined the Marine Corps. But there was a lot of problems in between there. Like there was a lot of drug use going on, and I was living at home with mom and dad. I was kind of irresponsible, and I just, you know, wanted to get laid and be a fucking rock star and do drugs and be a fool. You know, like back then you think, oh, I'm going to make it big. You're like, have these illusions of grandeur, like you're going to be like this huge rock star, and then you start realizing all the disappointment, and then that's kind of just what led me when I was 22. And then I joined the Marine Corps. So fast forward, when I got out of the Corps, I'd say like the last year, I was really missing music, dude. Like, because I told myself I'm going to join the Marine Corps and I'm going to focus solely on that. I'm not going to do anything else. I want to be the best Marine I can be. And I did that. But towards the end of my enlistment, I was really starting to like miss music, dude. I was really like, I'd go out and karaoke with my friends, and, it just brought back, those memories of like why I want to play music. And so honestly, I got out of the Marine Corps in 2000. I was probably in a band within like a month after that.
Just when you thought they were out, they pulled you back in.
I know. That's kind of what it was like. But I was so out of the loop and like disconnected with music. Like it was like starting over again. It really was, my chops weren't there, and it was just jumping back into it. Made me realize I had to get better. That band ended failing in like 3 months. It just wasn't a right fit. But coincidentally, Zeno came knocking, and that's kind of how I ended up in Zeno.
From that band?
Yeah. And I wouldn't even say that band I got into out of the Marine Corps wasn't even like a complete band. Like we were together and like kind of switching off with the guitar players, and just kind of trying new things. And of course, like I said, I was totally like out of the loop and just not where I needed to be vocally. And so I think there was just a disconnect there. But my brother knew the guitar player for Zeno, and my bro was like, "Hey, dude, I know a guy. You should fucking give it a shot." And he kind of did the introduction, and that's pretty much how I ended up in Zeno. Honestly, from the first rehearsal, I got the gig. I mean, I knew that the band was going to be it. So
let's talk about Zeno. Let's talk about Zeno, dude, because that was how I was introduced to you. And it's a funny little story because, to be honest with you, Cody's involved in this story.
Oh shit!
Because I don't know if you know this, but Cody was the guitar player for my old band, Serpent Underground.
Yeah.
And we had a new drummer that we brought in. His name was Mike Elliott. And we had just brought him in, and we were talking about playing shows and stuff like that. And we were doing rehearsals and stuff like that. And Cody and I and him and our bass player at the time, I think it was Tony, we were talking about bands that were out there and who we should try to get some shows with. And I remember Mike Elliott saying, "Dude, you got to check out this band Zeno. They're pretty badass, man. They're doing it right." And so I checked you guys out, and you guys had your video. What was the name of that song? I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the song, dude. But it was Live Again. Yeah. And so I watched the video, and I was like, the frontman's pretty badass, dude. He's pretty badass. He's got something going on. So I'm like, okay, I kind of dig this. I like their look all together because, I like that dark gothic shit.
Of course.
So, yeah. So I was like, okay, this is definitely a band to be reckoned with. And we were thinking about approaching you guys and playing some shows. And I don't remember where we went from there, but that's how I got introduced to you.
Sweet. I actually didn't know that story, Ralph.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's how I got to know who JT was. I was like, okay.
Shout out to Mike Elliott.
Yeah, shout out to Mike
I ain't talked
to
that crazy bastard in a while, but I do remember that story.
He's a good man. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you remember that story?
Yeah, I do.
Dude. Yeah. So that's how we got introduced to Zeno. So let's talk about Zeno. How did you told us that you went from one band and Zeno basically recruited you? Am I correct?
Well, I wouldn't say they necessarily recruited me. Like I said, my brother kind of introduced me.
Okay.
And then they were like, hey, let's set up a rehearsal. And that's pretty much how it happened.
And you were in like Flynn from there. Okay.
Pretty much. First rehearsal, I got the gig.
So what was your vision when you first got in? Now you're in this band called Zeno. They look like they have their shit together. Pretty cool image, and they've got some good ideas, right? What was your vision going in? What did you expect? What were your expectations?
Well, at the time I joined, Zeno had like 2 songs, and they were written by their previous singer, and I was not a fan of the songs at all. And quite frankly, they were very weak. And not only that, I wasn't a fan of the bass player. I knew that we were going to get a new bass player. Like I just knew that was going to happen. And so that's why I moved forward with them. So there was really no talk about image or anything, because dude, there was so much work that needed to be done, like
right.
We got rid of the bass player probably like 2 months in, got somebody new. And up to that point, we started writing some songs. Honestly, it took us probably a good year before we were even ready to play shows, dude. And didn't want to play shows until we recorded, right? So we went into the studio and did that thing. Now, at the time when all this is happening, now we're like 8 months in. The guitar player, who you know, and I won't mention, was really into this like a vampire theme, and quite frankly, he is a horrible guitar player. I mean, and he would admit this himself. Like he would be in public and tell people, look, I don't know how to play. I just look like I do. And so it really, like, the band started to form off an image, because he was like, listen, I don't know how to play guitar. So I gotta play the part. So like we started creating these characters,
That
and at the
is
time,
such an odd way to start things.
I gotta respect the play, bro.
And I'm actually skipping a few things, because he couldn't play guitar, so we needed a guitar player. I actually happened to know a guy, and I hadn't seen him in years, because like the guy that came and joined Zeno as the lead guitar player, he was in a band with me before I joined the Marine Corps. And so when I got out of the Marine Corps, I got into Zeno. We had guitar issues. I was like, hey, I know a guy. Let me make the call. And literally, like, the guy came out, and we caught up, and it was like, okay, cool. It's like, at that point, like 4 years had gone by. I hadn't even seen the guy. And so he joined the band. And then when he came into the band, that's when it started developing. But it still took us like 8 months to get shit up and running. But yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where we needed an image, because he like I said, the rhythm guitar player was like, dude, I don't know how to play, so I've got to create something to stand out.
Like a Milli Vanilli situation, or I know when you say he didn't know how to play, it kind of
yeah. I mean, he could play rhythm, if right. But he played no part in the creation of any of the music. It's basically, we would, me and the lead guitar player I brought in, we would play the music, we'd create the stuff, and then the guitar player would show the rhythm how to play, and be like, okay, this is how you play. And then it was really odd way of doing music. You think everybody's gonna like know their parts, and for some reason we kept it going that way for a very long time, because once we created this like vampire persona, we actually started getting shows, and like people started like really kind of starting to know us, and I thought it was
actually
crazy.
working. It was working really well. Yeah.
You guys,
it was, man.
you guys hit hit the mark with that, I think. And
Yeah.
I know that you're not that big of a fan of that whole like look and scene and all that stuff. So that's what the funny part about it is. It makes me laugh because I'm like, JT's not even really into that stuff, but he was in a band that was like actually starting to get somewhere because of it. You know,
it's like an
I mean?
Alice Cooper thing going on there, dude.
It really was. You know what it was, dude? And I started seeing that the guy who couldn't play guitar was getting more attention than anybody else in the band. And I'm like, how is this even possible? The guy who's the least talented in the band is getting the most attention. So me being the front man, I'm not a very egomaniac type of guy, but I was like, this is kind of ass backwards, dude. Like, I can't play a show and this guy get more attention than me. So honestly, it made me step up. It really made me step up. And I was like, well, if we're going to do this vampire theme, I'm going to fucking jump right in this motherfucker and create my own persona.
Love it.
That's really
oh my God. It's like forced attrition.
It was. It really fucking was.
You were forced into the corner and you said, fuck this, I'm going to swing my way out of
I'm going to be the best goddamn vampire you've ever seen.
You got that right, bro. You got that right.
You know,
See,
totally.
he took the Marine mentality to becoming a fucking vampire.
That's exactly.
He didn't think he could do it.
Really, what happened?
I bet you it's the same story with the Undertaker or some wrestler somewhere. It's like he's like, yeah, man, I didn't really like it, but you know, hey, they challenged me, so.
Oh, dude, I actually have. Well, I could tell you who that is, but we won't go down the wrestling road.
We'll go light on them, huh? Okay. Well, so what ended up happening? I mean, you guys were doing some really cool shit. I mean, before we go to the end, tell me some of the highlights of some of the, you know, the people that watch the show want to hear about some of your successes. You know
well, I'd say probably about two years in. At this point, we got, you know, we've recorded, we got a full album, we've been playing a lot of shows. And then we were introduced to the NAMM show and we were able to get into NAMM for the first time. Dude, you've been to the NAMM show, you know what it's like. If you're dressed like a freak, you get attention, man. And it was really how that happened. I mean, I had no idea what the fuck NAMM was, dude. I just was like, okay, this is a really cool like trade show. But you know, we started getting a lot of attention, man. Like we'd go to places and like people would just stop us and like want our pictures. And then like more people would come up because, oh my God, these people are taking pictures of these weirdos. I want pictures with them. And like we would be there for like a half hour taking pictures with people. Like we have no even know. I'd look over at the guys and they're like, okay, fuck, let's take more pictures, dude. Like, and that's kind of how it happened. And then, as time went by, we started going to more NAMM shows. Every year we'd go, and then we started getting some endorsements. And then that's when I started realizing that I wanted to do this as like a career. I like, dude, I want to focus on this. I remember going into Electro Voice microphones and landing that endorsement for the very first time, dude. And I was like, it was such like a great accomplishment for me because I'm like, I'm broke. I can't afford microphones, you know? And I was already using Electro Voice, right? So when I went in there, I had this really cool like packet that I had put together of pictures and the band playing. And the guy, the rep there was like, dude, this is probably the best portfolio I've ever seen. And he pretty much hooked me up from that day on. And I've never used any other microphones but Electro Voice. Probably going on, you know, almost 20 years now, bro. It's crazy.
Wow.
That's
but
cool,
yeah,
man.
so that stuff started happening. And then, you know, of course, what are those vampire movies? Twilight movies came out, and we were pretty much capitalizing on that because I was like, a couple of years where like those Twilight movies were just like the shit. And we had that look and that image, and we were playing Hollywood and we were doing this. We ended up going to the NAMM show in Nashville. It's fucking like a lot of cool stuff was happening. But behind all that was a lot of turmoil. I mean, we'd gone through several musicians, bro, like a couple drummers, a couple bass players. And then it was pretty much just me, the guitar player I brought in, and then the other guitar player who couldn't play. So, and it was just us three trying to constantly, bring in new people because, we were losing them for whatever reason. I mean, we probably went through, honestly, 15 bass players, dude. And when you start going through stuff like that, you start losing members, you start losing the mojo, bro. You start losing the creativity because you're constantly stopping to start over. Okay, well, we got to get this bass player up to speed. Yeah. Let's do that. And dude, this went on for 9 years, and it just got to the point, man, where I was like, and then I was butting heads with the guitar player. Like him and I were just getting to the point where we just could not even talk to each other, man, because like we were just like this, dude. And that's why I don't even mention his name, because it's like irrelevant to me. Like, it got to the point where it's just so bad. It was not a band anymore. It wasn't fun. Right. We'd go to rehearsal and I'd be like, it was like a task. It was like, I didn't want to be there. So
is that when?
What's that?
Is that when you decided to get into another band, start another band? Or
it is, man. Okay. Well, here's the thing. I was kind of nervous about it because, like, I started building my reputation in Xena. I mean, that's like 9 years of my freaking life I put into that band, and I was kind of nervous to start over. I was like, fuck, man, I put so much time and effort into these guys. And not only that, I was a little like insecure, I guess, because this is all I knew for like 9 years. Like we developed this persona, which, by the way, I started hating it. Like I did not like dressing like that. It just was not me. And I was just like, well, how am I going to dress? Like, how am I going to approach new musicians? Like, this is all I know, man. And then, fortunately, within that 9-year time frame, I built a lot of cool relationships with people and friendships and other musicians. And I was like, I saw my time in Xeno coming to an end, like really soon. And so I took it upon myself to form my own band. And so I just started reaching out to people. And that's how Reveille for Radicals came to be. Now, it's funny, too, because I was doing Reveille for... I was probably... Once I found the musicians for Reveille, I was in that band for 2 months while I was still in Xeno. And Xeno had no idea that I had this other thing kicking. And I didn't want to leave Xeno yet until I knew that Reveille was, like, solid. And I recall this day like it was yesterday, because I remember having a rehearsal with Reveille. We had 5 songs, and I was like, okay, dude, I'm quitting Xeno. It's going to happen. And then that next week, dude, I picked up my gear. I told them I was out, and that caused a lot of drama and bad blood, as well. But it was almost like I was spreading my wings, dude. For the first time, I was like, dude, I escaped this like horrible, like bad blood, like project, and formed this band like on my own. So I felt like this was my band, like this is my baby right here. And so it was a really good transition, man.
Well, I gotta ask, just on a side note, and we'll probably revisit this thought because there's reason for it.
Okay.
Xeno continued on.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, good for them. I didn't care at all. Like, you know what? more power to them, dude. Because when I left, there was so much bad blood and animosity going on with all sides that it was a relief to be out of that situation.
Yeah.
So honestly, I didn't give two shits, bro. I was just focused on this new project and like cultivating this thing and really trying to like do something that was cool.
Yeah, sometimes you kind of have to do that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it almost
dude.
feels like you're in a shitty relationship and you're trying to break up with the toxic girlfriend, isn't it? It's like,
Dude.
how do I get out of this without pissing everybody off? And you're like, fuck it, I can't. This is gonna suck. Tear the Band-Aid. I'm out. Do what you got to do. But at the same time, like you said, when you got that realized where you're like, wait a minute, I can just go do this song and not gonna hear 30 reasons why I can't do it or why I shouldn't do it, or fuck that, I'm going. Fuck this noise. You know. When you stop hearing no all the time, it gets kind of nice.
Dude, Cody, that I couldn't have said it better myself. That's exactly how it was, man. But it was really weird because I felt like my creativity in Xeno was like, I couldn't create with Xeno anymore.
Right.
And so when I went to this other project and started building this thing, dude, I had so much to talk about, bro. I had so much to write about. And as a matter of fact, there was about 3 or 4 songs that were written about Xeno and particular members in that band.
Yeah.
It literally helped me create the whole freaking album.
That's usually how it works, isn't it?
Yeah, dude.
Well,
I really like that, man.
Out of those kind of situations comes creativity for sure. A lot of drama. If you're in a really high drama situation, you're gonna create, man. You know what I mean? So, tell me though, what was your approach going into Reveille? I mean, because you mentioned that you were tired of doing the vampire look. What was your mind frame? What was your thoughts? Because I remember Reveille, you had like this black strip across your eyes, didn't you? Yeah. So I mean, and you had almost a military type look as well. So it was like, what was your vision on that?
Well, I'd learned that image. I learned about image in Xeno, and I wanted to come out, and at this point, people knew who I was. Just at least in our scene, in our circle, right? So like people knew who I was, and then when people started finding out about Reveille, I really wanted to come out like at our first show, like this just like huge fat music, and then like just a different image that people weren't used to seeing me in. So I was like, you know what, Reveille for Radicals, that's kind of like a military style. Type thing, and so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking start wearing a kilt. I'm gonna.
Was that your name? Did you come up with the name?
Actually, I didn't. Believe it or not, the drummer we were jamming with in Reveille kind of threw that out there. I liked it. It stuck.
Oh, okay.
We all agreed on it, and I was like, that's a cool name. That's based off the book, though. By the way, Reveille for Radicals. But that's a whole different. Topic there. So
I didn't know what the background was for that.
Yeah, if you Google Reveille for Radicals, you'll come up with a book. A book was written about it. It's a totally different subject matter, but I like the name, and it kind of fit with what we were doing. I looked at it as, we're a bunch of radicals from different bands, because this band had formed from different people, and we're a bunch of crazy motherfuckers like. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do like this military persona, and I went out and I got this like tactical vest, and I was like wearing the war paint, and I had combat boots and a kilt. And I remember, man, our first show, it was fucking lit, dude. It was just awesome, dude. And I was like, wow, this feels good. Like it never felt like that when I was in Xeno. Like this just felt like wow. Like these it just was a great freaking
you guys had some
scenario.
heat. You guys had some heat for a minute, man. I was around at that time because I started dating my now wife.
Yeah, that's when I met you, actually.
Yeah.
Like legit met you.
I was kind of in between bands. I was at towards the end with Serpent Underground, and
Yeah.
I didn't really have Cody and I actually, this is funny. Cody and I behind the scenes at that time were working on a new project. We were trying to figure something out. But Cody was very limited on times. He was a slave to a job that he hated. And it was just a weird time. But I was dating Lisa, and I'd come from Temecula area, and I moved in with her in the Redlands area. And I started getting to know you and the guys from Reveille for Radicals. And it was a fun time, man. I thought you guys were on the hot end of success. I did. I thought you guys were doing well. And I felt like there was definitely something really there. What do you think was the cause of its failure? Because you guys did not last very long. You guys burnt out pretty quick. You know what I mean?
It was right under 2 years, man. That's when the band just failed and we went our own ways. And, you being there and seeing, the people in the band, again, these are people I don't want to mention. But dude, there's a lot of drama started happening. And it really started happening because I was able to land an investor for the band. And this investor, dude, she was great, man.
Yeah, that's right.
She fucking really allowed us to go in. She paid for the whole CD, merchandise, gear. She was a really, really cool chick who really helped us move forward pretty quickly.
Let's talk about that for a second, dude. Not to cut you off, but let's talk about that whole investor thing. What are your thoughts about record labels and finding investors and getting endorsements and all that stuff? I want to hear your honest opinion about where you stand with all that.
Well, given that scenario turned out really bad, because what happened was like people on the side were starting to ask her for money, like behind my back. And there were like these little side deals happening, and it was just really fucking shady, man. And that's how Reveille pretty much, failed, because there was just animosity, distrust, and just, we just weren't meshing. As far as to answer your question, I mean, I don't know. It's nice to have an investor, but you got to deliver the goods, man. Like in this particular case, this chick was kind of wet behind the ears. She didn't know jack shit about the music industry. She just liked what we were doing and wanted to be part of something bigger than what she was doing, which was nothing. She was just, yeah, she wasn't. I mean, she was just some rich lady who just wanted to be kind of part of something special, which we were at one point. The band was very special, but it just, at some point, we just disintegrated. Record companies, man, these days it's hard making it in the music business. You got to have money. You and I have had this conversation before. And the thing about having an investor is just like another person that you have to please. Like.
I mean, at that point, does an investor become your boss? I mean, they're kind of paying your salary at that point, aren't they? In a way.
Yeah, because I mean, if this person's going to invest money in you, there's got to be some kind of outcome, right? There's got to be some kind of benefit that they're going to, they're going to get paid back eventually, right?
Yeah.
In hopes that's kind of the scenario.
That's what most investors would probably look for. But there are a few people, and I think the lady that you guys had involved with you may have been the latter of my point, which is someone who just was, like you said, bored. Somebody that wanted to get involved in something that was greater than what they had going on.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So there are some investors that go in thinking, well, at some point this person's going to be worth a lot of money, and that's when I'm going to cash in. But it doesn't always work that way, does it?
It doesn't.
Especially not in this industry, the music industry. It's a very tough business, and we're in a genre that is finding even more difficulty shining and doing well as far as monetarily. You know what I mean? I see other genres doing much better than the hard rock and metal genre.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? So, but
sure.
That doesn't make us any less. You know what I mean? We're still, I think the music that we've chosen to do is the best there is. So, but and
we're a little biased.
yeah, maybe just a hair, right? But you know what? Let's talk about your current project, because Fallen Union strikes me as something that is like, it really is more of a deep, for you, the meaning behind the project itself feels like it's a deeper message. It's more JT than anything else, it feels like.
I absolutely agree with you on that.
Okay.
To backtrack a little bit, when Reveille was kind of on the verge of breaking up, a bass player did come in and filled the void that we had lost. Right. A bass player. We lost a bass player. So this bass player came in, and he was in several other bands, but he came from a band called 100 Proof. And
100 Proof, I remember them.
Yeah, Jules, man. Jules is freaking solid dude. And so he was out of 100 Proof for a couple months, and then he had the opportunity to come in and fill the void with Reveille. Did some things with us. I started growing a bond with him. Really cool cat. We just kind of understood each other. And so Reveille broke up, and I was pretty distraught about it, man, because I was like, fuck, another 2 years I put into something, I put my heart and soul in this thing, and it fucking failed.
Yeah.
And so it really made me like start looking at myself. And I was like, well, fuck, am I doing something wrong? Like, I know I'm not the easiest person to get along with, but at the end of the day, I'm extremely driven, and I've got certain things in my head that I see and I want, and I just want to make it happen. So when Reveille failed, pretty much took like a year off. And in the meantime, Jules and I are still building our bond, like our friendship, and we're talking regularly. And I remember having a conversation with him one day, just out of the blue, man. We were having some beers, and he's like, dude, you know what? I think I'm gonna just sell my equipment. I think I'm done, man. I'm just so tired of all this fucking bullshit in the music business. You can't rely on the musicians and all this other shit. And I was kind of shocked to hear this, because I was like, dude, this guy's an amazing bass player, dude. He's got all the gear, he's got the look, he's freaking got the skill. And I told him, I was like, listen, don't do that yet. Don't fucking give up yet. Let's take a little bit of a break. Let's come back to this, and we'll reevaluate and see if we can do something else. And he was like, you know what? All right, let's do that. So we fast forward another, 8 months or so. We get back together, and we're like, you know what? Let's start looking for a band. Let's fucking do this shit. And then I was really good friends with a guy named Henry, who's now the guitar player. You know Henry.
Yeah, Henry's a good guy.
He was like a thought for me, because before that happened, we started jamming with like this guitar player. We just came across on fucking Craigslist, dude. And he jammed with us for a couple months, and he even did our freaking first show with us, which happened to be at M15. M15 was a great place, and that show was absolutely horrendous, man. Like, the guitar player, he fucked up, he was sick, and he was trying to sing, and dude, it was not what I pictured. As far as like, this is our CD release party, we're playing the fucking M15, this place is packed, and dude, that night before we go on stage, the guitar player goes, you know what, I'm leaving the band, dude. This is not working for me. And it's like, you motherfucker.
Wow.
Like, we're getting ready to go on stage, play our first show, and you're telling us this shit now?
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, dude, we do the show, and dude, the guy bounces, and it just fucked up our mojo, man. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call fucking Henry, man, because I know Henry's solid. He'd been in another band called Visions for like a long fucking time. And as a matter of fact, he went back to my Xeno days, like Visions and Xeno. We played many shows together. So I called Henry. Henry answered the phone immediately. And he came to rehearsal, and fucking that's pretty much it. The drummer, I knew PJ from previous bands. I called him up. He came and fucking day one, he was the guy. And then when Henry came in, that was it. That was the lineup. And then from there,
you guys were ready to rock, huh?
Yeah. So we've been together now for about 6 years, dude. PJ recently had to leave us. He ended up moving to Idaho, and he's got a family life going on over there. And it was a devastating thing for us. I mean, because up until this point, he'd been with us for 4 years, dude. And like we built the whole band. Like this 4-piece was just a tight niche. We played a shit ton of shows. But at the end of the day, he had to do what he had to do, and we wished him luck. We knew another guy, and he came in and filled the void. So we've been rocking ever since, dude. So, but yeah, Fallen Union is the niche there. I think because it's a combination of like all of us now. It's not just like one person writing everything. It's like all of us contribute to this cause. We all contribute the same energy to this band. And dude, believe it or not, we've never argued. We don't argue about anything. We're on the same page pretty much most of the time. So
that's rare.
Dude, it's very rare, man. That's why I was like, I'm just thankful to
what do you attest to that? Is that just because you guys just, because in a lot of cases, there's one or two people in the band. In this case, we could have said maybe it was you and Julius because you guys initially started the band.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys were more driven and trying to push towards getting more accomplished in the music industry and the music business, getting ahead, maybe going on tour, releasing a record, maybe trying to get on the label, whatever, getting a booking agency, whatever it may be. There's pressure sometimes that the other band members do not appreciate. And I think a lot of times that is what brings a little bit of chaos into the mix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Would you agree with that, or do you?
Absolutely, dude. For sure.
Okay.
In this particular case, though, it's funny. So we have Henry, right? We have PJ, Jules, myself. And yeah, Jules and I pretty much created Fallen Union as a unit, but when we got Henry in, we didn't really have the lineup yet when he came in. And I remember Jules and I being at a bar, and we were throwing out names, and we're guys from all different bands were like throwing out band names, trying to come up with something cool, and then Fallen Union was thrown out there, and I think Jules mentioned it, or maybe his daughter's boyfriend or something at the time, and we're like, that's fucking perfect, dude. We're a bunch of guys who fell from other projects and formed this union. This is fucking perfect. We can totally play on this. So that's kind of how it happened. So
Fallen Union, I got to ask now that you're mentioning this, Fallen Union is not a direct, not quote, but
reference?
It's not a descendant of the reference to what happened when, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, I'm talking about politically. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is it a reference to the Fallen Union? Is it a reference to that? Or was it just a cool name that you guys came up with?
It was initially just all about the name. I was like, dude, we're all from different bands, and we formed this union. We all came from failed projects, and that's initially what it came, kind of represented. But as we started playing and seeing, the times, I'm like, dude, this name fits perfectly for the times we live in too.
Right.
And so we would start writing about stuff like that.
That's what I was thinking. I thought it was in reference to like the Civil War and
it wasn't
current
initially.
times.
Because even
You know what I mean?
your logo back there, you have it on the flag and everything, so it fits
Yeah.
perfectly that whole
Yeah.
imagery.
Well, I will say this: I'm very into abbreviations, man. Like in bands, like Reveille for Radicals, R for R. You know,
FU.
Xeno was XNO, and I was like, Fallen Union. The minute Fallen Union was mentioned, I was like, F you.
Yeah.
Fucking perfect, dude. And so, like, I have this designer, this graphic design guy, and he's been doing all my work for many years. And I went to him and I was like, dude, this is what the idea I have. Playoff FU. You know, we can say FU and people think it's fuck you, but it's not, you know, like, and that's how that logo was created. And we've kept it ever since. It works for us.
Well, it's a cool looking logo. It's a great name, and the band is pretty badass, dude. I gotta admit.
Thanks, bro.
I'm a big fan of Fallen Union. I like all of your projects, but I gotta say Fallen Union is my favorite, honestly. And that's
my favorite too.
That's me being honest, because I've listened to a lot of your music over the years, and you guys continually put out good songs, man. Just really good
Thanks,
music.
man.
So if you guys have not checked out Fallen Union, you need to check them out. They not only have a ton of music all over the place. Where's your music's on Spotify? It's on iTunes. It's on everything, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, not all of our tunes are up. We probably should make that happen, but we do have
Reverb Nation, though, right?
Yeah, and I hate to use Reverb Nation, but it's, you know, if people want to like legit hear all our tunes, they could go to Reverb and hear all our tunes. But we do have probably 5-6 songs on iTunes and all that stuff. And, you know, it gets to that point, dude, where we're getting older now and it's like we can't hold all these hats, man. Like we've got personal lives, you know, a lot of the guys in the band are married. And so to, you know, really put 100% into, well, we put 100% into this band, but dude, we got lives, man. You know, we all have jobs, and sometimes it doesn't allow us to kind of market and promote the band like we should be doing. I wish we had more time to do that, but you know, lately we've kind of been revitalized. You know, COVID really set us back like a year. Like, we were pretty much down for a year, man. And then that was like right when PJ left. So we had to like find a new drummer. We got the drummer, then COVID hit, and then we couldn't really jam. You know, nothing was open. So it really kind of set us back. But just through perseverance and kind of pushing through it all, we've been working on a bunch of new tunes. So we're actually getting ready to record again. We're gonna drop a new EP here, hopefully towards the beginning of the year.
Hell yeah!
Well, you heard it here first, guys. I hope you guys put it out there on all the major,
sure.
you know, Spotify's, iTunes, Amazon's, everything, because. And I hope you guys make another music video as well. You know,
that is the plan, man.
You guys do have a very cool music video, and I think that everybody should check these guys out. They have a YouTube channel. It's just Fallen Union, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you guys still have a website where people can check out your stuff?
We have a website, but honestly, that goes back to what I was talking about earlier. You know, we're not utilizing it like we probably should. You know, so we have the name. It's just we don't have a website. You know, things are just mainly we've been marketing through Instagram, Facebook. We do have our YouTube channel. We actually have several videos on there. Like we only have like one legit video that we did a couple of years back, and then we have we did a.
And that's for No Longer Am, right?
Yeah.
No Longer Am. You guys should check out No Longer Am. Check out the video, check out the song. I think it's a fucking great song. I love that song. I've always loved it. You guys have a lot of good material, though. Can you name your top favorite 3 songs from Fallen Union so that people can go check them out? They know
Absolutely.
JT likes these. These are his favorites. Let's go check these out.
Well, No Longer Am is definitely on that list. One Day is on that list. We do have a live version of One Day on our YouTube channel. Also, we have an acoustic version of No Longer Am that we did a video of too. That's kind of cool. We're in the studio.
Very cool.
That's kind of cool. I really like Fade Away. Getting sidetracked. I really like our song Voodoo. Voodoo just sticks with me and it appeals to me a lot. So those 3 songs right there are probably my favorites.
All right.
Coincidentally, One Day happens to be about the Zeno guitar player, the lead guitar player, not the one that couldn't play, the guy I brought in.
Right. The one that
he
passed away, right?
Yeah, he passed away, dude, a couple of years back, and even though we had some bad blood after I left, I had known that guy 20 plus years, and so when I went to the funeral and I saw him laying in the casket, it really kind of humbles you, bro. It makes you realize, like, life is fleeting, dude. To get in these petty little arguments and disputes is like so ridiculous. Like, it inspired me. So when I went to rehearsal like that next week, dude, I wrote the song One Day lyric wise, and it's about him. So that's, like I said, that's one of my favorites, dude. It's a pretty cool song.
That's very cool, man.
Yeah.
You guys heard it here. Check it out. Let me ask you real quick. I want to talk about a couple of things real fast. We're gonna probably take it down from here, but what are you? I know you're an animal lover. So I mean,
Just a little.
where does that come from? And because I know you do a lot of rescues, and I just kind of wanted to talk about that because I think that's an important part of your character. It says a lot about a man when he's kind to animals, and so I want to know where that came from.
Dude, honestly, I don't know, man. I've been around animals my whole life, and I love them, dude. They're just rad. Like, you can see through animals the unconditional love. Like, they don't hold animosity towards you. They don't have attitude towards you. They just want to be with you 24/7. And I've always loved animals. Even as a kid growing up, I always rescued animals and took in strays. Any animal that I've ever had has always been from the pound. I always go to the pound and save animals, or one that I just kind of saved on the street. Dude, they're rad, dude.
You do a lot of that, dude. If you guys, you check out JT on Facebook, look for him. You got to see some of the stuff that this guy does. It's really cool, man. This guy is a very humble person, and he just takes care of animals and homeless people and just everything else. And it's very cool to see a person with that kind of a good human spirit to them. So
Thanks,
that's part of why you're a good friend of mine, dude. I don't want to get too deep into this stuff, but real quick, what's your stand on religion?
To each their own, like I try to stay in my lane, as long as people stay in their lane. I grew up with no religion at all, so it's never really been there for me. Over the years, I've reached out and tried to learn more about it, and I've got a couple childhood friends that are hardcore Christians, and they've been Christians since they were kids. And, I remember going to church with them and stuff like that. And I can't see what they see. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And
so do you believe in God or a higher power, or no?
I don't know, man. It's hard to say, bro. It really is, because it's like,
no creator?
To me, believing in something like that is almost like believing in fairy tales and dragons, bro. Like, like, the tooth fairy.
So you believe more in
Wait. The tooth fairy ain't real?
Spoiler.
I don't know, man. You know what? No, I'm sure there's something out there, bro. I believe in aliens. How can we be? And this is where it's kind of almost like hypocritical of me, right? To think that there's aliens, but like there's no God. But to think that we're like the only.
Well, do you think that there was intelligent design behind this, or do you think it was just something that happened?
Well, I look at it this way. I mean, it has been a known fact, dude. Like we've found ruins that date back in the times before Christ that are have been done some form of laser cutting that is so precise, bro. Like you guys, today we would have problems trying to duplicate stuff like that. So like, you mean to tell me, in times before Christ, that people created these ruins with chisels and rocks? It's almost unbelievable to me.
Especially with the inscriptions they have that apparently look like they're worshiping aliens and ships and shit
dude.
on them. Yeah,
it's crazy. Like even the pyramids, it's a known fact that these pyramids were done so precise, and some of these pyramids, the blocks are done so tight that you can't even slide pieces of paper through there. I mean, it's mind-boggling that we would be able to do something like that of our own accord with no help. But I mean, it's so far-fetched, right? To think about stuff like that. So,
well, but think about today's technology. Don't you think it's pretty amazing? Don't you think it's pretty mind-blowing? Actually, a lot of the stuff that they're coming up with nowadays, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Fucking Elon Musk just said he'll unveil the first legit AI robot, upstanding humanoid robot in 2022. So we're gonna have droids in 2022.
Yeah.
Fucking C-3PO making you a goddamn sandwich nowadays.
Shit.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy, man. So
Elon Musk probably already has a little sex droid already. He's just
Wasn't that where it's, dude? That's what they honestly. What do they say? If you see any of the major media change, it's because porn dictated it. Like all movies didn't start going to 4K until porn went to 4K. Like they dictate the move. So Elon Musk is like, hey, dude, I'm the number one guy, and I just made a robot. He's like, I'm fucking cornering the sex toy market.
So I'm bringing the dick to dictate. No, I'm just kidding. No, but okay. So what?
I was just gonna say. I mean, to add back to what you were asking about religion. I mean, I hope there's something out there. I hope there is a God. I hope that I've done enough good in my life that if there is a place, I'll go to it. It's really hard for me to believe in like a heaven and a hell, and it's just like I'm a firm believer that I think that religion was possibly made back in the times of kings when they wanted their followers to listen to them, and because back in the day, in those times, dude, like the church was like they were the power, like the church was the all power, bro. And it was one of those like, we're going to put fear of God into these people so they listen to us. They need to obey us. And, I have a hard time with that. But on the flip side of that too, then like ghosts and spirits, I believe in that stuff. I mean, that's legit. So if there's ghosts and spirits, well, there could possibly be something else out there. And I hope that I'm a good enough person that I go to the right place when I kick the bucket. You know what I'm saying?
Well, who knows what the right place is? I mean, we could go down that rabbit hole, but I'm not really sure that we got the time to do that today. But we will adjourn or re-adjourn at some point and cover these topics. But real quick, I did want to find out what your thoughts are on the current situation with Afghanistan.
That's a shame, dude. It's an absolute shame. Should we have been over there for 20 years? No, but we were. And I find it incredibly wasteful that we spent trillions of dollars over the last 20 years training these Afghans to defend themselves and giving them weapons, and then Biden comes in and then just changes the whole dynamic. Should we have been out of there right now? Should we be leaving? Yeah, probably. but it should have been done in a way that was better than it was. Just put it that way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm absolutely livid, dude. I know Marines who died over there and who served over there. They came back. They're not the same, dude. And so now 9/11 anniversary is coming up here shortly.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's like all for nothing, you know. And now we see these guys over there, you know, they've got our helicopters, they've got our gear, they've got our weapons that they're going to use against us. You know, it's
Well,
just,
I mean, what are your thoughts about the Taliban then? Because I mean that seems to be the source of the problem, right?
I mean,
So
they should be wiped off the face of the planet. I mean, there's nothing good there. Bro.
what do you think drives these people? I mean, I'm just curious. I just want to know
Power.
what your thoughts
Power.
are.
I mean, it's really what it comes down to. I mean, when you have a book, and I'm talking about the Quran, that basically says death to the infidels, right? Death to anybody who doesn't believe in them. I mean, that's pretty crazy. And even the Quran, even their book says it's okay to, you know, marry, you know, 12-year-old girls and have sex with them. You know, it says, you know, that women need to be obedient. I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't believe in any of that nonsense, dude. A book that tells people to do that, no.
That's the one scary
not.
thing. You got these guys who are in power now. They took over Kabul or Kabul,
Yeah.
however you say their name. Had the name. I know I'm not trying to piss anybody off, but I don't know how to say the name. And they have women over there going, look, I'm a journalist. You have teachers who are women. You got women who are working, and you guys just took over. What are you going to do about the women? And his exact words were, women will be afforded all of their rights. And he says it twice, and then he says it a third time and goes, women will be afforded all of their rights under the under possibilities of Islam. And I thought, fuck. Because if that's what they're going to do, they're going to go right back to what they were doing. And it's like, well, cover your face, get stoned. I mean,
It's crazy,
people are
dude.
terrified for a reason. You know, I don't know what part of the Quran they follow, and you know, because I know Muslims personally who do not believe this kind of shit.
Yeah.
They don't believe this, you know. So I don't know what they follow, but if what is happening is causing so much terror that people are literally clinging to fucking airplanes and falling off just trying to get out, there's a problem. You
Dude,
know, and that has
was
nothing
hard
to do with
see.
Democratic or Republican. That's a fucking problem.
Pretty
You know.
bad. It's pretty bad. Well,
It was
what?
definitely hard to see, man.
Oh my God, man, it's terrifying. Or the baby. Did you see the baby? They're literally handing a
dude.
baby over fucking barbed wire just to get it out of the. It's terrible, man.
Well, and the thing about it too. Okay, so we were over there for 20 years, and we haven't really had any kind of confrontation for like the last 18 months up until now. Think about the kids and the young adults now who grew up in the last 20 years and like a free society in Afghanistan. And like, this is, you know, all they know. And now next thing you know, they're like forced to wear these little hijabs, whatever you want to freaking call them. They're, you know, they can't work. This is like total culture shock for them.
Well, yeah, last
know?
I heard, they're literally going door to door looking for people who have associations with the West.
It's crazy, man.
It's like, this
So
is bad.
I can only imagine the young adults who grew up the last 20 years and now they're, you know, ready to start their adult life, and it's being shut down by these jackasses over there. It's a shame, dude.
Yep.
It's a damn
scary.
shame.
Well, I mean, so what are your thoughts on our country, on the United States, as far as the division between the left and the right, Republicans and Democrats, conservatives and liberals? What are your thoughts about? There's a lot of clash going on. I personally don't buy into it, and I won't allow anybody to suck me into it. But I want to know what your thoughts are about it.
Well, I think social media has helped create this divide for sure. I mean, I think back to like early 90s or in the 80s when I grew up, there was no social media, dude.
Yeah.
There wasn't like Americans being pitted against other Americans because they thought differently. Okay. I'm a prime example. Trump brought out hate in people. And I'm not saying Trump was the guy who's hating people. It's just people despise the guy so fucking much, dude, because of how he is, and that was all driven by media, social media. Like half the shit that's being said about Trump in the negative is not even correct, you know. And
do you think the actual media is playing a big role in it?
Dude, they are going to be the downfall of our society, bro. They really are, because the media is they're not helping us. They're brainwashing us. Is what they're doing.
It does seem like there is an orchestrated effort to segregate people any way they can. Doesn't matter who you love, doesn't matter what you like to watch, doesn't matter what sports team you like, who you voted for. You are supposed to tell everybody, and then you're supposed to say, fight me for it. That's kind of like the climate they're trying to push, you know? I make the joke, I've made the joke before. It's like, you're afraid to say whether or not you like pineapple on pizza because you're afraid somebody's take a shot at you. Nowadays, it's like, motherfucker, people. Can we just agree that pizza's awesome and leave it at that? Oops, I'm gonna get an email now. Fuck you, pizza sucks.
From New York, that might get pissed off, but that's about it. No,
but you know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like it's like, dude, you know, not only can you not be straight, now you have to be a section of LGBT, and it's like, my God, man, what are we? Mm-hmm. And not only that, but I got to keep up with it or otherwise I insult you. It's like, what is your fucking name and can we move on with life? I don't care about the rest. It doesn't fucking matter. They want to tell us it does, but this buzzwords and bullshit has to stop, man.
Yeah, the buzzwords and bullshit has to stop. I think it's another part of political correctness that is over the fucking top. And yes, I did say over the fucking top.
Totally
yep.
is,
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
There were generations too. I mean, I can't tell you how disgusted I am when I see like a young kid these days, you know, say early 20s, who he doesn't want to work because he doesn't want to get his hands dirty, you know, or working 20 hours a week is just too hard. He's working too hard. I'm like, to me, dude, I work 60 hours a week, if not more sometimes. Like, I am driven by you know, making something of myself. And to me, these kids these days, like, they have no idea what work ethic is, you know?
No, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, with them, you learned that in Marines. My grandfather was a goddamn drill instructor in the Marine Corps. So I kind of grew up in that dynamic, and it wasn't, you know, hey, we need to get this job done. And then you get, yeah, well, you know, to get that, blah, 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 blah. But that don't fucking matter. The job needs to get done. I don't care if you have to go butt naked outside and get the job done. That's the fucking point. It doesn't matter. You know, it's like no one cares.
Butt naked outside. I don't know if I want to work for your grandfather, bro.
Well, dude, we weren't butt naked, but dude, no shit. We were visiting my aunt in Texas. I was probably, I don't know, 14 or 15. 2:00 in the morning, this old bastard decides to wake all the kids up. It's time to take the trash out. So I get literally kicked in the side by an old dude. I wake up. I go, "What's up? Take the trash out." What did I say? Yes, sir. I got up. We all grabbed a bag, took the shit out, and went back to bed. But like you said, they always want to go, well, what? Like you said, 20 hours is too hard. Well, if you can find a way to live by working less than 20 hours, then do it. Get innovative. I don't give a fuck, but you got to do something. You know, if it's too hard, change your attitude or change the work. That's your job.
It's those 2:00 in the morning trash drills that set you straight.
And put some hair on your fucking chest, dude. You don't question them. You get up and you take the trash out because the old man said so.
Okay, guys, it was amazing, and I had a blast today talking to my good friend JT from the band Fallen Union. We talked about a lot of his past bands and all the stuff he's accomplished in his career, and I got to tell you, man, I'm impressed. JT, where can people find Fallen Union? Because like I said, it's my favorite project of yours so far, and I think people need to find out about it.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, we're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. Although, you know what? There is a Fallen Union in freaking New York, man. Came across them as I was, putting this band together. But yeah, we're not in New York. We're here in Southern California. So yeah, you can find us on YouTube.
If people just Google
Facebook,
you, right?
All that stuff. Yeah.
People just Google Fallen Union, they'll find you guys, right?
Yeah, we'll be right up the top. Right up the top, man. We've been around for about 6 years now. We're gonna keep pushing till we can't push no more.
I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to hearing the new stuff, bro, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys live and maybe even sharing the stage in the future. It's been great talking to you, brother. Thanks so much
Likewise,
for coming
man.
on, dude.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, guys.
Super nice meeting you, brother.
You too, Cody. We'll talk again.
Fuck yes, dude. You have an open invitation back on here.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us. Go check out Fallen Union. Go say hey to JT. We will have them back soon, I promise, because they're getting ready to release some new music. Can't wait. Until next time, be good humans. Take care of each other.
Thanks, guys.
Always fucking
Peace.
forward. Peace.
Always forward.
Always.